All right. So for the last Hillbilly headline of today, let's take it over to someone who one day is probably going to take our jobs. Mrs. Spikes, what you got over there?
All right, let's get right into it. So an Escambia County man who has competed on several moonshine-making reality TV shows has been reportedly arrested for possession of a still and prohibited beverages.
Oh, it happens.
Now check this out. Johnny Wayne Griffins, 48 of Flomaton, was arrested by agents of the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency who said he was found with a moonshine still and was in the process of cooking when officers arrived.
Oh, man, he got busted, Jakai. Straight up busted.
Busted big time. They found 19 quarts of flavor moonshine and 5 gallons, you guys, of clear moonshine.
Let's go.
5 gallons.
Wow.
I wonder what flavors he had.
Apple pie,
lemon crush,
cherry,
cinnamon.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Jakai. That was a great job. There you go. That'll be the height of your journalistic career right there. Reading
Hey,
about
Auburn family. So today we are here with Ann, who is Miss Auburn.
Hey, y'all.
So can you tell us some more about the spirit of Heyday?
Yes, of course. Heyday is so special and an awesome Auburn tradition because it really just embodies the entire spirit of the Auburn family. It's taking that extra step to making people feel welcome on our campus and really included and making sure that every single person feels welcome here and completely a part of just what makes Auburn so special. And Heyday is just such an awesome
chance to ask both SGA Vice Presidents Brandon Besser and Coleman Turnipseed their purpose behind running.
The purpose behind running is my platform. I want to increase transparency, advocacy, and productivity within the Student Senate. I have the legislative knowledge and experience in order to lead the Student Senate right, and I just want to make sure that SGA is advocating for everyone.
Please tell me, Liz, what does Jump with Jenna mean?
Yeah, so Jumpin' with Jenna is all about jumping into the Auburn family and into community and realizing that our vulnerability makes us strong.
Informed by the latest state and federal guidance, the university is updating its guidance on COVID-19. Effective May 6th, the following updates will be made to Auburn's COVID-19 response. The COVID-19 Resource Center website remains the primary source of information. Calls and emails to the COVID-19 Resource Center will not be monitored in real time and instead will receive an automated message directing the individual to various resources on campus. We decided to go through some traditions that are uniquely Auburn.
This is good.
Yes. So the first tradition has got to be rolling Toomer's Corner after a win. Though the origin is up for debate, but most consider it to be when running back Terry Henley said, "We're going to beat the number 2 out of Alabama before the 1972 Iron Bowl."
What would happen if y'all rolled Toomer's Corner after a loss?
I mean, it's still a win. Even when we lose, it's
That's
always
a lot
a win.
to think about.
And I'm Jakai Spikes, and you're watching Eagle Eye TV. I'm Jakai Spikes, Auburn's news leader, Eagle Eye TV. Happy Heyday!
I'm Nicholas Wetzel.
And I'm Jakai Spikes. Thank you so much for watching. And are women really ready for an emotionally responsible man? You're probably thinking, well, what do I mean by that? Okay, the theme of today's episode today, right, is TikTok. Meaning, I was scrolling on TikTok like we all do, and I saw this woman who was on a podcast. You know, it seems like everybody has a podcast nowadays. Well, she proposed a question. Are women really ready for an emotionally responsible man? She then answers the question herself and she says, I feel like a lot of women say they want a man that's emotionally mature, but when it really comes down to it, I don't think these women have the capacity to handle it, or I don't even think that they're really emotionally mature at all. And I really had to take a step back and kind of think about it, like, what is an emotionally mature man? And I would say, and well, I of course want you guys to comment down below in the YouTube section.
It was a beautiful evening at Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama on October 21st as the Auburn Tigers prepared to compete against the Ole Miss Rebels. With this season being the most home games sold out, it was no surprise that there was 88,000 fans in attendance.
Starting off the first quarter, number 5 touchdown by Jakai Franklin from Jackson Dart, putting the scoreboard at 7-0 Ole Miss. The Tigers' offense did not come to play in this highlight, with Jarquez Hunter getting a touchdown for the Tigers with a 53-yard rush. Wow, look at him run. With 24 seconds left in the first quarter, Ole Miss Jackson Dart does a 29-yard run that puts the scoreboard at 14-7. The Tigers had a plan to conquer, with Hunter putting 7 points on the board with his 1-yard run, making it look so easy. The Auburn's defense couldn't stop Jackson Dart from getting another touchdown in the third quarter. But you know what time it is, the light show at Jordan-Hare Stadium, accompanied by the dance, swag, and surf. Quinton Johnson started off the fourth quarter running 4 yards to get a touchdown for the Rebels. But wait, the Tigers weren't giving up yet, with number 13, Rivaldo Fairweather, catching an 8-yard pass. The final score of the game is 28-21. Head coach of the Tigers, Hugh Freeze, went into detail about his thoughts about the game.
We've got to coach them better, and it starts with me again. Irregardless of whether you may be the most talented team on a certain night, you certainly can be well coached in critical areas. And Keontae makes us better, and he's a great leader, obviously a really good player. I thought it was clear on the replay that the ball touched the ground. Bounds, and then the ball looked like clearly that it hit the ground. They just said that they had no conclusive evidence to change it.
The final score of tonight was 21-28, with Ole Miss taking home the win. This is Sports Night in Auburn, reporter Jakai Spikes. Thank you for watching.
Well, there's two things. First one, I'm just going to quote, it says, the Bible says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. So that just speaks for itself, like just staying persistent and then realizing that when the time is right, not in your time, when God's timing is right, He'll make it happen. Secondly, is just your love for the game. I love basketball, and there's nothing I'd rather do than play basketball. And I've had nights, where I've really cried tears. I missed a free throw in practice. I missed a free throw in my own time shooting. I shot my career-wise 35% from free throw line, and it's nothing I've done, to shoot those percentages. I've worked my tail off. I'm always in the gym. I've been, putting all this work in. It seems like nothing is really paying off. It's just wasting time. But, the fruits of my labor, happened to show themselves this past game where I shot 6 for 6 from free throw line. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it might not make sense in the present. It might not make sense in 6 months, 10 years, however long. But when the time is right for God to make it happen, He'll make it happen. And that's just between, it just depends on how persistent you are and how much you love what you're doing.
Yeah. And I feel like being committed to, because you can love something and not be committed to it.
Yeah.
Is it hard to enjoy the season when you're right in the thick of it? Or do you take time to be grateful while you are going through it?
Good question. I think I do take time to be grateful for it, especially when I'm traveling. Obviously, growing up in a single household, I didn't have access to, plane rides. We drove everywhere we were going. So just, being grateful for having a plane to go to Arkansas, or we got back from New York City. I'm saying, every time I've traveled out of the country, it's been because of Auburn basketball.
Right.
And so just taking time to be grateful for that, I'm saying, how far God has allowed basketball to take me, across this country and across this world. So I've been very grateful for the things that I've been able to do through basketball, and that's where you kind of show your appreciation, is because I could have gone to a smaller Division I school. We had to bus 10 hours, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So just finding joy in the simple.
Hello and welcome to the World According to Jakai, where I share my opinion about this world, but trust me, I am not of this world. Chad Baker Mazzara, an Auburn basketball player here, and he's number 10 and a guard. But after talking to him today, I got to know him as a positive force that influences everybody around him. Also, he's a family man. And last but not least, he has natural talent, but it drives him to work even harder. Why? Find out soon. 2, 1.
Chad Baker Mazzara, welcome to the World According to Jakai.
Appreciate it for having me here.
Of course, thank you for being here. So for the people who do not know you, they see you on the Auburn basketball court. You're a part of the team, men's basketball team, number 10, you're a guard from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. So cool. You're also a transfer student from Northwest Florida and also from San Diego State. How are you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. Just about to get ready to play Indiana. About to go to shoot around and just, lock into the game plan and just make sure we, take care of business today. So we can go to Atlanta and take care of business there.
Jumping right into it, I want to ask you about the Dominican Republic. What are some key memories you have growing up there?
Some key memories I have growing up there are, for example, my mom was cooking. That is always just, every time she cooked, it was just so great, so amazing. That's the number one thing I miss, especially being here. You don't get to eat homemade food pretty often, so that's something that I really miss a lot. Another thing is just the beaches, the weather. It's just, you just walk outside and it's just so nice. Sometimes a little too hot, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't know, my family, I'll say, is the other key memory. I'm just a big family guy. Every time I see them or think of them, it's just good memories at all times.
Yeah, I can actually hear your accent coming through. Can you tell me what is like your favorite dish that your mom makes for you?
Oh, there's two dishes she always makes for my birthday. One is a lasagna, and another one is called pastelón de plátanos maduros. So it's basically like a, the sweet plantain.
Yes.
It's like kind of like a lasagna, but instead of the pasta, you do smashed sweet plantain of it. Ooh. I swear.
That sounds fire.
It is.
Fire,
it is. I'm
fire.
not gonna lie.
So, did you start off playing basketball in the Dominican Republic?
So I kind of played a lot of sports growing up. Baseball, because that's our national sport. Played volleyball too, played soccer. I was really big into soccer. But then I always did basketball. I never took it as serious, but I always did it on the side because my dad was a head coach and he played before, so I've always been around the sport. But then me growing up a little bit more, then I just took all the sports to the side and then said, okay, I'm gonna just focus on basketball.
I saw about you that you decided to move to the U.S. to live with your grandfather, Bailey Baker. Mm-hmm. What made you come up with that decision?
That decision was really hard because I had to leave everything, basically, my family, friends, everything that I've known my whole life, I had to leave. And to come out here, but for me, it was more like how do I say this, like not a decision for right now, it's more like a decision for the future. What I mean by that is like, okay, if I come here, I'm gonna be able to take care of my family, which is not an opportunity that I will have out there in the Dominican, but it'll be harder to do because the resource out there is not as good as out here. So it was just basically, I did this for my parents, so in the future, I can tell them, hey, you guys don't have to work anymore, so it's my time to take care of y'all.
And you don't feel like your parents took it a hard way at all with you saying the transition?
My mom did a little bit. She really didn't want me to leave. Well, both of them really didn't want me to leave, but my mom a little bit more. I'm big mama's more, I'm really close with her. But she didn't really want me to leave. She didn't understand much, like what really was going through. About like, okay, I'm getting a little bit better in basketball. Like, I'll be able to probably take it to the next level. She wasn't really be able to process that in the moment that decisions were made. Me and my dad did, because my dad, I say he's the basketball junkie, so he was like, okay, we're gonna send you out there, better opportunity in and off the court, so it was pretty hard, not gonna lie.
I saw on your Instagram story that your mom actually brought your niece, was it, to see one of your...
So that was kind of, I call her my sister. We're not blood family, but I used to live with them when I was out here. Okay. They're like my family out here, like my grandfather. So yeah, I used to live with them, especially during COVID when I couldn't go back home because all the airports were shut down. But yeah, she's like my sister. And that's like, I call her my little niece because they always supported me and just showing love to me. And that was just awesome seeing them, I'm not gonna lie.
That's amazing. So Bruce Pearl calls you a very talented player. I was reading and I saw that about you. So what makes you keep working hard even when you have natural talent?
Hard work beats talent. If talent doesn't work hard. Just a quote that always been sticking with me. And I've seen some great players, played with some great players that have been lazy, and just some other kids that are not as lazy as them, just work hard, just seeing them just take over them. And just seeing that throughout my years of hooping and seeing what happened to the guys that don't put in enough work and seeing the guys that put in all the work just makes me just want to keep on going.
You're a transfer student, as I mentioned earlier, but I have to ask, why Auburn University? Why'd you pick here?
This might sound a little cocky, but so I played, kind of I can say I played low major D1 when I went to the Cane. Played kind of mid-high major when I went to San Diego State. Kind of really say a mid-major, but all I missed, basically, it was playing Power 5 basketball. And the hype is like, oh, you know, big Power 5s, that's where the big dogs are. And I'm like, you know what? Let me see what it's all about, since they have all this hype. So that's what really made me just come out here to face that challenge for myself. And my dad wanted me to say it. He wanted me to play in the SEC school, so that's another reason why.
You mentioned challenge. What has the challenge brought out of you as a player, as a person?
This challenge has made me like develop on my character, see like when things don't go the right way, how people are going to react, how am I going to react myself. And I've been learning how to control the things that I can only control. Before I used to worry, trying to control things that I couldn't. And that's the reason why I came out here. I feel like, you know, the coach is going to put me in a position where like, you know, I'm going to have to face certain things certain way, and they probably see how am I going to react.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big reason why I came here.
So the NCAA transfer rules right now are, if you are 100% committed to going somewhere else or transferring to another school, that you are able to do that. So with that, I then hear Deion Sanders, the head coach, say, listen, if I don't want the NCAA transfer rules to be like this. I want it to be different. I want it to be, if you commit to this school, you can't go somewhere else.
No, you can finish your question.
What do you think should be modified in the NCAA transfer rules, if anything?
I'll be honest, all that thing that, how they be like, oh, a player has to sit out for a year, I feel like that's a bad rule because, you know, we have 4 years basically to get our degree.
Right.
And like, for example, let's say if you go into a terrible situation, how I went, I ain't gonna say what year, but I went to a terrible situation one of my years. And it felt like I was stuck. But thankfully, because of COVID, they changed the rule that year, and you was able to transfer 1 year and play right away. But I feel like they should just change that overall, because let's say, for example, you as a player, you don't know what you're really going into.
Right.
You know, coaches really sell you a dream, you know, try to make it seem like, oh, there's the best players in the world. Obviously, no place, every place has their ups and downs.
Right.
But you really don't know till you really already committed there, you know, you're there for some time and you really see, oh, this is how this really works. So, you know, coaches sometimes be lying. And they be trying to say, oh, no, we have a perfect situation going on, da-da-da. But then you go there and it's like, whoa, like, what is this? Like,
right.
They probably already got their team set, saying they probably going to have to give you an opportunity. And then, you know, I just feel like NCAA should be able to just, you know, if he goes into a terrible situation, he wants to transfer and let him play right away, why not?
So I have to talk about that moment that I saw on social media of you kicking the basketball into the hoop.
I know.
You have to explain to me, why did you do that?
Fun fact, so I wasn't really trying to kick the ball to the field goal. If you see the video under it is Presley Patterson. So I was trying to just, you know, I used to play soccer, so I'm sometimes always kicking the ball in practice, juggling, messing around with it. But I was really actually trying to kick the ball to him so he could give it to the next guy. Accidentally, the ball bounced a little higher than what I expected, so my foot got under it, and then when I hit it, I'm looking up, and then you can see the video. Katie's like, whoa! And then I look at the ball, and that ball went in, and it was just, I'm glad that happened because our practice, it changed the whole mood of practice. Yeah. Like practice was a little bit like slow, a little sluggish, and then that happened. I kicked the ball in, then at the same time, the guys come in a fast break, Trey dunks the ball, and it just like everybody just blows up in excitement. It was great that that happened because I would say our whole practice mood changed out of that. People just started going and getting after it after that. So it was pretty insane, I cannot lie.
The Auburn Tigers faced the Florida Gators in one of the most exciting games of the season last Friday. Both teams were ranked in a huge SEC matchup. The beginning of the game started with Auburn winning the first set with the score of 25-20. Jackie Barrett and the Auburn offense did not come to play in the first set. Barrett set up Akasha Anderson with 4 kills. Madison Shear and Bella Bell each put down 3 apiece. Zimmerman helped play a role in putting Florida out the system, impacting the Florida's outsides from getting in a rhythm. Yet the Gators still managed to secure the second set and beat the Tigers 26-24 in a very close matchup. With 2,393 fans, the game was the third largest crowd in Auburn volleyball history. Later in the third set, Auburn beat Florida 26-24. In the fourth set, points were going back and forth until Florida ended up taking home the set 25-19, even though the Tigers managed to keep its service errors to a minimum. Chelsea Harmon came out with 2 explosive kills in the fifth. Auburn's defense was ultimately unable to keep up with Florida's hitters. 3 strong attacks from the Florida offense ultimately sealed the deal. Florida managed to beat Auburn 17-15 in a nail-biter game. This is reporters Madison Seidel and Jakai Spikes. It was a long but a beautiful day on April 16th at the Yarborough Tennis Center. Number 15 Auburn battled against number 17 Florida in the best of 7, where double matches count as 1 point. Ariana Arsenal and Caroline Ansari was match 1, and they ended up with a score of 6-0. DJ Bennett and Caitlin Carcinella finished their double off, winning the match 3-2. Adeline Flatch and Angela Okitoyi battled hard, but Florida ended up taking home the win with a score of 6-1. On to the singles, DJ Bennett took home the win, battling Florida opponent, winning by 6-2. Angela Okitoyi fought hard, ending the match with a score of 7-6. Ariana Alstonot played very smart, but unfortunately not getting her the win, losing by 1 point, 6-7. Caitlin Carnicella hitting the ball very hard, but not enough to get her a win, finalizing the score 6-3 Florida. Caroline Ansari dominated today on the court, winning her singles 6-2. And Adeline Flack battled hard, not getting tired against her opponent, Bennett Spee, who won 6-4 Florida. At the Yarborough Tennis Center, the Auburn Tigers took on the University of Florida in a very competitive match, although not enough to win. Florida winning 5-2 Auburn. This is Eagle Eye TV, Jakai Spikes.
Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to watch Eagle Eye's Thursday News at 6. Stay tuned because tonight we're going to talk about Thanksgiving prices increasing. Plus, we'll inform you on weather updates as well as Auburn interim coach Cadillac Williams.
Coming up, we're going to give you an exclusive take on flu cases and the International Peace Dinner happening tonight. Plus, be prepared to hear all about the Pet of the Week and take a look at how we acknowledge National Sandwich Day. All of that and more next on Eagle Eye's Thursday News at 6. The aviation field is continuing to see a decline in the number of pilots entering the workforce. So, the War Eagle chapter of Women felt like it was more important than ever to host its annual Girls in Aviation Day on October 15th. This experience helped women of all ages learn about aviation at the Auburn University Regional Airport. This year's event was sponsored by Delta Propel, Delta Airlines Pilot Career Path Program. Daphne Walker, Engagement Coordinator for the School of Aviation, said that Girls in Aviation's Day is important because it provides girls of all ages the opportunity to learn about different career fields in the aviation industry. Younger girls can learn about our students and other female pilots who attend with their companies. This can build a lifetime relationship with aviation. If you wish to join or learn more information, visit War Eagle
Over
Chapter.
to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Kinsley Davis.
And I'm Keegan Miller. Make sure you tune in every Monday and Thursday to watch Eagle Eye News at 6.
War Eagle Auburn.
Tonight on Sports Night in Auburn, we take a look at the upcoming week as Auburn football goes head-to-head against UGA.
Stay tuned for women's volleyball and soccer.
All of that and much more.
Sports Night in Auburn starts right now.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slips.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Going deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the inside.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Micah Farmer. There's a lot of sports news happening on the Plains right now, so let's get right into it. You ready?
I'm excited.
Let's start off with football, why don't we? Auburn football opened SEC play this weekend against the Texas A&M Aggies on Saturday. Unfortunately, in a tough road matchup, the Tigers lost their first game of the season, 27-10. The first quarter ended with the Aggies up 6-0 after 2 early field goals, but Auburn went into half down by just 3 with a score of 6-3. Texas A&M then came out swinging and dominated the second half. The Aggies scored 14 points in the third quarter and held Auburn to nothing. The Tigers struggled offensively throughout the entire game, with Coach Freeze playing all 3 quarterbacks. Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford, and Holden Gariner all saw the field, and none of them were able to complete a touchdown pass.
Auburn's sole touchdown came from the defense, trailing 20-3 in the fourth quarter. Freshman Kayan Lee forced the fumble with linebacker Eugene Asante catching the ball and running a 67 yards for the touchdown. This play was all over social media after the game when replays showed that Texas A&M head coach Jimbo Fisher was on the field when Asante almost crashed into him. Although the lead was cut to 10, a 79-yard run set the Aggies up for another touchdown late in the fourth quarter to seal the win.
Good evening, I'm Albert Osorio and I'll be covering y'all's weather report of the week. Auburn soccer will take on South Carolina this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 83 and a low of 64. The Deep South's oldest rivalry is having its 128th meeting at Jordan-Hare this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. The skies will be mostly clear with a high of 87 and a low of 63. Finally, Auburn softball will have a fall exhibition doubleheader against Snead State and Troy at 1 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. There will be clear skies that day with a high of 85 and a low of 64. That's all I have for the weather report of the week. I'm Albert Osorio, and you're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Tonight on Sports Night in Auburn, a recap of the LSU football game by reporter Vince Wolfram.
Stay tuned for women's volleyball news, and senior night for soccer begins this Sunday against LSU.
All of that and so much more.
Sports Night in Auburn starts right now.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slips.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Going deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the inside.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Jack Corbett.
And I'm Valerie Heffernan, coming to you live from our studio. If you guys didn't know, we had off this past Friday for our fall break. Jack, how was your break?
My break was great. I actually went to Disney World with my family.
No way, that's amazing.
Guardians of the Galaxy is the best ride I've ever ridden, so
Really?
highly recommend. Yeah, it was
I
unbelievable.
feel like I'm more of a Space Mountain person, but
It,
I
that's
see where you're coming
it's
from.
just Space Mountain, but 10 times better. I promise. Yeah.
Well,
you
I need
gotta
to
try it
go
out.
then, and so should y'all.
Yeah.
This past weekend wasn't the best if you consider yourself an Auburn fan. It was a battle of the Tigers as number 22 LSU defeated Auburn 48-18 in Death Valley. Sports Night in Auburn reporter Vince Wolfram traveled to the game and gave us behind-the-scenes coverage on our Instagram story at EETV_sports. You should follow if you don't. He also gave us a game recap. Let's take a look.
LSU playing host to Auburn in Death Valley. The battle of the Tigers, but this battle seemed pretty one-sided early. Out the gates, LSU running back Logan Diggs barrels on and on for 35 yards to set up LSU in Auburn territory. And just 2 plays later, Jaden Daniels a 29-yard touchdown throw to Malik Neighbors. LSU up 10-0 after their first 2 drives. Where was the Auburn offense? Well, that's a good question. First Auburn possession, a miscommunication on 3rd down led to a 3-and-out. And on the next drive, Thorne delivered a souvenir to the LSU defense, but it was dropped. The Auburn O was shaky at best. The only shaky factor for LSU came from the Death Valley crowd, as the place was rocking after this 25-yard touchdown strike from Daniels to Kyron Lacey, 17-0 LSU. Auburn's offense needed something. Second quarter, Peyton Thorne using his legs, a 16-yard dash for a first down, which set up a 2-yard punch from Jarquez Hunter. Auburn's first score of the game. Late second quarter, Auburn's defense was trying to build some momentum. Daniels throwing over the middle gets tipped up in the air and picked off by DJ James. Auburn was unable to capitalize off the turnover, though, and went into halftime down 20-7. Third quarter, LSU came out looking like Thor from the Avengers, ready to put the hammer down. Here, Jaden Daniels looks to Josh Williams and says, "Bring me my hammer." A 13-yard trip for 6, giving the yellow and purple a 34-10 lead. This Auburn team showed fight until the clock hit 0, though. Robbie Ashford in at QB rolls to his right and finds Brandon Frazier for the touchdown. Hugh Freeze decides, hey, let's go for 2, and Ashford says, let me run that back. On an almost identical play as the touchdown, Ashford hucks a pass to Frazier again in the end zone for the extra 2 puntos. The scoreboard read 34-18, LSU leading, but the LSU offense was moving like a fast car with no brakes in this game. 2 more touchdowns from Ryan Kelly's team left no hope for an Auburn comeback, with the final score LSU 48, Auburn 18. Auburn head coach Hugh Freeze acknowledged that the game was a strenuous one.
Yeah, obviously a difficult night for us. They beat us every way, that you could. We had no answers. Defensively for them, and offensively just not consistent enough to stay in a scoring match with them.
From Death Valley, I'm Vince Wolfram, Eagle Eye TV.
Reporter Paige Hunter, and also Eagle Eye TV's newest co-host of their newest show, Paige and Micah in the PM, is here tonight to share her top 3 Auburn plays of the week. Were you able to find 3 plays of the week after that disappointing football performance?
I was. Obviously not the result we wanted, but lots happening this weekend in Auburn athletics. Not here in Auburn specifically, but our traveling Tigers did pretty good this weekend.
Well, good. We're excited to hear what you found.
All right, guys, let's jump in. A quiet weekend in Auburn as a lot of our Tigers traveled, but the Lady Tigers of Auburn softball stayed home and made a statement, grabbing a fall ball doubleheader win. At number 3, a 2-run homer from senior Michaela Packer helped set up an 11-run first inning for the Tigers as they beat Coastal Alabama 25-3 and Enterprise State 13-0 in the following game. At number 2, over in Baton Rouge, while the Tigers might not have come home with a win, senior tight end Brandon Frazier had his best game yet. Frazier finds the end zone for a strike from Robbie Ashford, then gets the ball again for a 2-point conversion at the beginning of the 4th. This was one of his 3 receptions for a total of 52 yards against LSU, which is already more than his 33 yards in his past season. And this week's number 1 play is an interception from DJ James in the second quarter. LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels' pass is broken up by Jalen Simpson, who pops the ball up in the air, and James grabs it. A big moment for Auburn defense as they get a stop and the ball back. And those are your top 3. A lot of Auburn athletics action this weekend. Check back next Wednesday for more of the biggest plays and best moments. Back to you guys.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Valerie Heffernan.
And I'm Jack Corbett.
Now, Jack, I shouldn't have to ask you by now, but do you know what time it is?
It's trivia time. If you tweeted us the answer Ralph Jordan, you're absolutely correct.
James Ralph Shug Jordan was an American football, basketball, and baseball player and served as a coach for football and basketball. You might recognize his name when you drive on Shug Jordan Parkway here in Auburn.
You know, I don't have a car here, but it's unrecognizable. See the street all the time, unmissable, pass it all the time.
Well, when you do get a car here, Micah, you should definitely drive on Shug Jordan Parkway.
That's right. The highway was completed in 1971 as West University Drive and was renamed to Shug Jordan Parkway to honor Coach Jordan. Auburn basketball hot topics in just 3 minutes. So I'll give the boys a countdown start. 3, 2, 1. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, guys. Strictly Auburn is back on Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Jake Lazarus here with Connor King. Let's talk some Auburn basketball. The first AP poll came out earlier this week, and Auburn's name was left off. However, on the Ken Palm rankings, ranked as high as 15. So, Connor, we'll start here. Why was Auburn left off, and where should we be ranked, in your opinion?
Well, I think we're left off just because of the lackluster result last year, having around a 32 exit to Houston. And, you know, I think some people think that Wendell Green was actually a really big impact on our team. You know, he scored a lot, he took a lot of shots, but we have new guys coming in that are way better than him, in my opinion. One of those guys being freshman Aiden Holloway. He's so important to our offense, and he's going to be explosive coming out of the gates this season. We also have big transfers in Denver Jones, Chad Baker-Mazzara, and we have one of Chaney Johnson, too. All three of those guys, they should be fighting for starting spots this year. They're all really talented in their respective ways. Denver Jones can shoot the ball very well. Aiden Holloway is a two-way player, and Chaney Johnson has crazy bounce. He can play some really good defense. He has lots of length. I think 6'7", 6'8". So we have a lot of guys. We have some depth returning in our backcourt. Janai Broom, he's on the SEC preseason first team. That's really important. He's one of the best players in the SEC. I think he's the best center in the SEC. And we have Dylan Cardwell and Jalen Williams also returning. There's two other big men. So we have lots of depth. A lot of guys that are great shooters, and we all have defenders across the court. Of course, Bruce Pearl turns every player on his team into a great defender. So I think we should be ranked right now for a lot of reasons. What about you, Jake?
I also think the best Bruce Pearl coach teams are when they're just deep, right? 10, 12 guys deep, and you can just rotate guys so they go as hard as they can on defense, and you get stop after stop after stop, and you just make big plays on the offensive board and on the defensive board. I think Janai Broom has the biggest impact on this team this year. I think Aiden Holloway launches this team into a top 20 spot by the end of the first month of the season. I think this team is a better team than at any point last year in terms of talent, just straight on paper. But again, that's to be seen once the season gets started later next month. I'm pumped for basketball season. Connor, I know you're pumped for basketball.
Auburn center Janai Broom stated how it was a great opportunity to show their skills and also gave his teammates advice on how to perform in front of NBA scouts after he participated in the NBA Combine last summer. Game versus Louisiana Tech on November 4th. That is all we have for you tonight. Make sure to follow our Instagram at Eagle Eye TV and our Twitter at EETV_sports. I'm Valerie Heffernan.
And according to you, I'm Micah Farmer. Good night, and thank you for tuning in to Sports Night at Auburn.
War Eagle.
There you go.
Yay.
Let's
go. Awesome.
Make sure you tune in on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time to watch Auburn versus number 22 LSU. 5 legendary former Auburn Tigers were nominated to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The following names are Takeo Spikes, Willie Anderson, Carlos Dansby, Stephen Davis, and Tony Richardson. I even got a chance to interview Hall of Fame nominee Takeo Spikes on his favorite Auburn football players. Let's take a look.
All right, I'm here with Auburn legend Takeo Spikes. Takeo, there's been a lot of players that come through Auburn. Who is your favorite all-time Auburn football player?
I can't say I have a true favorite, just because so many guys are uniquely special. Now, some of the ones who I really enjoy watching play, Reggie Slack, hell, me being on the defensive side, seeing Damian Craig, Stephen Davis, I think about, hell, Bo Jackson, of course, Nick Fairley, Cam Newton. Oh, yeah. Like, man, there's so many guys who I'm a fan of. Love Zach Etheridge when he played. Now I'm on the coaching staff. So, man, we got some ballers here.
Oh, yeah, War Eagle.
War damn, brother.
Show of the semester. All of that and more coming up. Good evening, everyone. I'm your anchor, John Carter.
And I'm Joe Champagne.
I'm Mackenzie Parson.
And I'm Kinsley Davis.
And you're watching Eagle Eye TV News at 6. So you're probably wondering why we're all here together, but it's because our producer thought that since it's our last show of the semester, why not have fun, right?
Right. Now, if you see us doing silly things throughout the show, just know that is our producer in our headset piece telling us exactly what to do.
That's right, and that's not the hardest part. We also have to do all this while still reading you the news. Now, if you tuned into our sports night at Auburn, you might have seen something similar when Marty and McGee crashed the Eagle Eye TV set. Let's take a look.
All right, speaking of young people, Marty and I had a chance to head over to Eagle Eye TV. In fact, I see them all standing back here behind the cameras right now, and we got back to our roots. Marty was on the set anchoring, and they even let me go back into the control room and try to produce.
It was a sugar show. Marty and McGee are here at Eagle Eye TV on the campus at Auburn University in the shadow of Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I'm excited because you are going to go into the studio and do what you do, which is be on TV, and I'm going to do what I used to do. I used to be a producer. Yeah, that's a wrap, boys. So whatever I say, you're going to do it.
Pray for me.
Yeah. Can Marty hear me?
I can.
3, 2, everybody go.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Auburn volleyball stays perfect after a sweep this weekend at the UAB tournament. The Tigers, 17 blocks against Troy, matched the program record for blocks and set the record for most blocks in a 4-game match.
You get blocked on social media.
But I get blocked on social media all the time, so I'm used to getting blocked.
Auburn football spent the week stoking the flames of the rumor that the team would break tradition and wear orange jerseys for the Penn State game.
How about just put War Damn Eagle right across the back shoulders?
Well, the best thing I think that they should do, they just put War Damn Eagle
right across the back.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jakai, did your granddad play here?
Jakai, I couldn't help but notice your last name. Did your grandfather, Takio, play here?
Oh, don't say grandfather. He's bigger than you.
He's not your grandfather? Vince, do you think that Takio might come to my house and just stomp me?
He might tackle. He definitely tackled.
Takio's a wonderful, wonderful person, and his neck is bigger than my waist. With a sold-out crowd expected at Jordan-Hare this weekend, it's a good reminder that Auburn University supplies free shuttles. Routes will run from Duck to Sanford Park.
Didn't you just jump in a duck pond?
I did just jump in a duck pond. Game day on the Plains looks a little different this week with the national media coming to town to cover Auburn's big game against Penn State.
This is going to be the best part.
As a reminder to all students and fans, SEC Nation is in town. It all gets started at 8 with the Ryan McGee Show. Yeah. Y'all know who Ryan McGee is?
Do you know who Ryan McGee is?
I don't.
How?
It was a beautiful day with a high of 70 degrees out on Jane B. Moore Field. The game started at 5 o'clock against the LSU Tigers. Fans began to trickle in, going to the concessions and getting some fresh snacks. Both teams wore navy blue in honor of LSU teammate Kanine Jervis, who passed because of cancer. Number 9, Maddie Pinta pinched with a strong arm, causing outfield Sierra Briggs and Allie Newland to strike out 3 times. At the bottom of the first inning, LSU pitcher Ali Kaponen threw some fastballs at Auburn, although Lindsey Garcia owned her to the left side of the field, getting a home run for the Auburn Tigers. LSU's number 14, Carly Petty, hit the ball to the outer right field, advancing to the second base. LSU's fast pitch balls wasn't too hard for Isis Trevek as she advances to second base. Auburn's batter, KK McCrary, grounded out to shortstop, causing Isis Trevek to sprint to home base, getting a score for the Auburn Tigers. Number 8, LSU Savannah Stewart single to the right field. The LSU Tigers single through the right side, advancing to second and third off a wild pitch. The LSU Tigers kept fighting, trying to get a home run. Number 77, Bree Ellis got a short stop, and she's safe. At the top of the 7th inning, LSU Sierra Briggs scored 2 points. Auburn wins this home game, leaving the score at 5-2 against the LSU Tigers. This is Eagle Eye TV, Jakai Spikes.